Hey folks, this SubQuery example project here indexes all transfers and approval events for the wrapped Ether token on X1 Testnet. So let's jump into VS Code, and what I'll do is run the command SubQuery init to initialize a project. Let's call it X1 demo, and then I'll choose the EVM network here, and then I'll type in X1 for the actual network itself, and then I'll select the X1 Testnet Starter Project. I'll then select the default parameters here in yellow just by hitting enter for the RPC endpoint, the author, and the description. And then I get an option to generate scaffolding from an existing contract API. I'm just going to run the default project, so I'll say no to this. And there we have it. Now, what I'll do is let me change directory into my project name, and then I'll run npm install to download the dependencies first of all. Next up, we'll run npm run code gen to generate the TypeScripts, and then we'll build the code as well by running the same command, except we'll replace codegen with build. I've also got Docker running in the background, so if I go npm run start Docker, this will start the container. And while this is downloading, the last three commands could have been replaced by a shortcut called npm run script dev. Now while this is starting up, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the manifest file, otherwise known as the project YAML file. Here you can see the endpoint that we're using, testrpc.x1.tech, the start block at around 5.4 million, and the address of the ERC20 contract. Down below we've got two handlers, a transaction handler and a log handler. And you can see in the logs down below in the terminal screen, in fact, we've got the blocks already indexing. So before we do a query, let's take a quick look at the schema or the shape of our data. We've got two entities here, transfer and approvals, and these are the data sets that we're indexing from the blockchain itself. And if we go to source mappings, mapping handler, this is the actual code where the transformation of the data takes place before it's saved into a database. So let's go to the README file here. Let me go ahead and copy the sample GraphQL query, and we'll jump into our browser, localhost 3000 here, and I'll go ahead and paste in the sample query, hit run, and then you can see we've got some data coming back, which is great to see. So how do I know this is correct? Well, let me go ahead and copy out the transaction ID here, and I'll go to the OK link blockchain explorer. Let me paste in the transaction ID, and let's do a quick comparison here, where you can see the value here is 6047, and down here you can see we've got 6047 as well. So there we have it, a very quick example on how to run the X1 Testnet SubQuery project.